Yahoo Fantasy Football, the Tucson Tackle Dummies League has completed Week 15. The quarterfinals in the playoffs are in the books. Here's your Week 15 quick take. 4 matchups made up the slate this week, the closest of them being the number 3 versus number 6 matchup, as Big Ben's Revenge pulls off the upset of the Caballero Division winner Jammed Toe, 139.51 to 132.35. Big Ben advances to the semifinals with the victory to take on Delicious Pancakes, while Toe will move to the consolation bracket with a matchup with Bucknuts ahead. Big Ben avenges a regular season loss to Toe, the only loss that Big Ben suffered outside his own division. Big Ben had 8 players beat projections this week. That's half the team. 5 of them were on offense. Game high 22.05 out of running back Jamal Charles, while wide receivers Miles Austin and Devon Bass combined for 20.6 this week, and quarterback Matt Ryan chipped in 18.59. Toe had a decent day on offense as well, with 7 players beating projections, 6 of those on offense. Team high 21.68 out of Drew Brees. Meanwhile, the 3 wide receivers on Toe's lineup, Roddy White, Tampa Bay's Mike Williams, and Percy Harvin combined for 45.7. And also 16.5 points out of the kicker, David Bueller, for Jam Toe. Toe, though, it came down to Matt Forte's performance on Monday night, and Forte came up just short. The Bears actually had a 1st and goal late in the game, and Forte was unable to bust through to the end zone. From that point on, Forte did not touch the field as the Bears were up by quite a few points and decided not to use Forte, and it wound up being Toe's undoing. On the defensive side, a surprising victory for Big Ben, knocking off Toe on the defensive side of things, 43-30. Big Ben had 15 points out of the New England Patriots defense. That includes special team points as well. And then Jammed Toe countered that with just 1 point out of the Cleveland Browns defense. In other action, Delicious Pancakes knocked off Bucknuts, 124.87 to 93.36. Pancakes moves to the semifinals. Will have a face-off for the 3rd time this season with Big Ben's Revenge, while Bucknuts moves to the consolation bracket to take on Jammed Toe. Pancakes' 6 players beat projections this week, including tight end Aaron Hernandez, filling in for the injured Antonio Gates, picked up a game-high 17.7 out of Aaron Hernandez this week. Pancakes also had success with Joe Flacco, chipping in 15.06, and 2 wide receivers, Stevie Johnson and Danny Amendola, combining for 27.09. However, so there was some disappointment in the Pancakes lineup. Running backs LaDainian Tomlinson and Maurice Jones-Drew combined for just 13.05 this week, and kicker Dan Carpenter had just 2 points after missing 4 field goals for the Dolphins this week. Bucknuts had lineup issues, started the injured Dez Bryant at the flex position, and only 4 players beat projections on the team as a whole. Running back Arian Foster had just 7.6 points despite being projected to go over 20 this week. Buck also had team high 17.16 out of Peyton Manning, and the wide receivers Mike Wallace and Deshaun Jackson combined for 24 points. And then Pancakes turned around and also sealed the deal with defense, winning that battle 45.5 to 21.5. Pancakes had 12 points out of the New York Jets defense and 11.5 points at linebacker from Lawrence Timmons. In other action, the number 1 seed advances to the semifinals as Pain Trains knocks off Is This the CFL, 124.16 to 100.82. Pain advances to a semifinal matchup with Fight Smash Win next week, while CFL will move to the consolation bracket with a matchup versus Polax next week. Pain, 6 players beat projections on the Pain Trains roster. All areas chipped in this week, we should say. A game-high 26.56 out of quarterback Eli Manning. At wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald had 14.75 points. At running back, Steven Jackson had 17.65 points. And at tight end, Kevin Boss benefited from the success of Eli Manning, picking up 12.65 points himself. There was, however, some disappointment on the Pain roster on the offensive side. No Sean Moreno was projected to go over 14 points and scored less than 1. CFL had 5 players beat projections in total, team high 23.3 out of Mario Manningham, also benefiting from the success of Payne's Eli Manning. However, the other 2 wide receivers on the roster, Wes Welker and Brandon Gibson, combined for just 8.6. Also, the huge disappointment for CFL and what pretty much sealed the deal was the Monday Nighter between the Vikings and Bears, as late Monday, Adrian Peterson decided he would not play in the game, and CFL had no available players to cover his slot, while Chicago Bears running back Chester Taylor, also in CFL's lineup, managed just half a point. CFL did win the defensive battle on this one, though, 39.5 to 34.5. CFL had linebacker Derek Johnson for 13 points, but Pain Trains countered with 13 points from Gerard Mayo. But the downfall on the defensive side for Pain Trains was the Minnesota defense, which managed -1 points this week. And in an absolute rout, number 5 Fight Smash win knocked off number 4 Aztec Division winner Polax, 180.43 to 70.29. Fight advances to the semifinals to take on Pain Trains next week, while Polax will move to the consolation bracket and take on CFL. Fight defeated Polax for the 2nd time this season and set a playoff scoring record. Now, the previous record was 157.7 in a round 1 matchup last season by My Dirty Boys. This also was the largest margin of victory in a playoff game, winning this one by over 110 points. Fight had 7 players beat projections this week, including a game-high 39.68 out of Michael Vick and 36.55 at running back out of Ray Rice. Those 2 combined scored 76.23 points and would have defeated Polax on their own. Fight also had LeGarrette Blount for 17 points and Sebastian Janikowski for 15 at kicker, and actually had success with Brandon Lloyd, scoring 14.9 points despite the fact that the Broncos started Tim Tebow. Polax had Donovan McNabb at quarterback. McNabb was benched earlier in the week. Polax did not make a change at quarterback, so no points at quarterback was this team's unraveling. Also, no players in the lineup for Polax managed double digits this week, and Kyle Vandenbosch at defensive lineman was also in the lineup while injured. Polax, as we said, no players in double digits. Just 3 players were able to beat projections. The high on the team was a 9.5 out of wide receiver Marcus Colston, and 2 individual defensive players, one of those being Vandenbosch, scored no points this week. So, looking ahead to the semifinals, Week 16 action. Number 1 Pain Trains will take on number 5 Fight Smash Win. These 2 teams did not meet in the regular season. This will be Pain's 2nd playoff matchup against the team they did not face in the regular season, taking on CFL in the first round. And if Pain wins, it'll be a 3rd matchup with a team they did not face this season, as the 2 teams in the other side of the bracket, are teams Pain did not face at all this year. Fight was one of 3 Wildcat Division teams to actually advance to the semifinals, so it's a near sweep by the Wildcat Division, as Pain is the last man standing, not from that group. The best record of 2010 will take on the highest scoring team of 2010, as Pain finished atop the standings, but Fight had the most points scored. These 2 teams did face off once in 2009. It was a Week 5 win for Pain Trains by over 50 points. That's the only history between these 2 teams. Pain reaches the semifinals now for the 2nd time in team history. 2008, this team made it to the semis but lost to Sixburg, but wound up finishing 3rd overall. In the other matchup in the semifinal bracket, number 2 Pancakes will take on number 6 Big Ben's Revenge in a divisional matchup. This will be the 3rd time these 2 teams have faced off this season. Pancakes swept the regular season matchup 2-0 and also won the only meeting between these 2 teams last season. Pancakes, though, outscored Big Ben in the 2 matchups this year by just 16.58 points, so it was tight across the board. Big Ben was 2-4 in their own division this year and was the only team to make the postseason with a losing record within the division. Both teams, though, managed to score 100-plus points in every matchup this season. They're the only 2 teams this year to do that, and they will square off in what is sure to be a high-scoring affair. Pancakes reaches the semifinals for the 3rd straight year. This team is 1 win away from going to its 3rd straight championship game. And over in the consolation bracket, we have number 3 Jammed Toe taking on number 7 Bucknuts. These 2 teams met once during the regular season. It was a Week 11 win for Bucknuts, by 39.49 points. This was Buck's highest scoring game of the season during their regular season matchup. Toe is now 2-2 in the postseason all time following this quarterfinal loss. Bucknuts has yet to win a playoff game as it's their first season in the league. And in the other matchup, number 4 Polax will take on number 8 Is This, the CFL. These two teams met once this season. CFL won that one by 29.44 points. These two teams did not face each other last year. Neither team has ever won a postseason game, so something's got to give here unless they miraculously wind up tying. So somebody's going to walk away with their first postseason victory and a shot at 5th in the 5th place game. So we'll hope to see everybody back next week as these same 8 teams will do battle once again, and we'll decide who will play for the championship in the Tucson Tackle Dummies League.